Hey folks, I'm putting together another video right now, but these first two clips are Jack Lakin of Black Scout Survival, and there's two of them. And this is going to be a long video, so you might either have to pause it, take a break, and come back to it, or if you can sit and watch it, I'd advise it because all of these people have a lot to say about this. This is not something that needed to happen. It was planned, and they lied so many different times about what it was for and how long it was going to take, and that Iran was decimated how many times now? But they're still fighting. They're still bombing different people, different countries. And they've taken out almost all of our bases over there. Now, there's going to be some people that's going to say, nah, that's not true. But the satellite images say so. Other countries are saying so. Not just Iran. And on top of that, Israel was saying, well, their troops won't be in there. So they're going to use our boys, our souls, our money. Again. America first? Not in your life. It's a trap. And somebody said it, in fact, Jack, I think somebody said it was a trap. I think Jack did, but it could have been somebody else too. But the trap isn't really what people think. The trap is, it is planned so that we lose the ground war. And the excuse is probably going to be something like the terrain. Because I don't know how many times they've said, well, we took them all out. They don't have any Navy left. They don't have any of this. They don't have any of that. Really? Yeah, how many times did Trump lie before he got in office the first time? And then compounded lies before he got in office the second time. Did you see anything that he did that he said he was going to do? Quite the opposite, don't you think? No new wars. Let's see. How many wars did he start now? The economy is going to be good. Folks, you tell me in the comments. Is it good for you? Because I can feel it. It's not good for me. Oh, it's good for the rich people. And people are so delusional, they're still defending the man. I don't defend any of them. But that's how it is. Get ready, folks. We're in for a wild ride of our lives. And it's going to get horrifying. So you watch these two clips, and I'll be back between each one this time for a shorter message than this one was. I'm out.
Listen carefully, because something is not lining up. We were told this was going to be a short operation for citizen strikes, limited engagement, no escalation. We heard initially it'd be 4 days, 3 or 4 days, turn into 6, turn into 2 weeks, maybe 6 weeks. And now they're planning for 2 months ground engagement, troops on the ground, boots on the ground, right? Every signal that's coming out right now says the complete opposite to the BS we were fed in the beginning. This isn't winding down. This is building up. And it's just like every time we've gotten in some kind of conflict, the same thing happens. Now, strip out emotion, talk about this. You have reports and imagery showing a US E-3 Sentry AWACS aircraft has been destroyed. $270 million E3. What? I thought we were winning. What happened? Look at this thing. $270 million. How many of these $270 million planes have been blown up, or maybe more, that we're not hearing about? That's what I want to know. But that AWACS is not just a plane. That is an airborne command and control. That platform tracks threats across hundreds of miles, coordinates fighters and intercepts, basically acts as a flying battlefield command center. You lose that, man, you lose visibility, you lose coordination, you lose time. That is not just a public relation problem, because it is that too. It is that. You don't just lose $270 million to Iran. Okay. It's also a tactical problem. Now stack on top of that, guys. Refueling aircraft has been damaged. Okay. Now, how much those cost, I don't know. We know of at least one, possibly multiple, and that matters way more than people realize. It's obviously an intelligent move. If you're going to bomb some planes, bomb the refuelers, because air power does not exist without fuel. Those tankers extend fighter range, sustain bombing operations, basically keep the aircraft in flight. You start losing tankers, you start shrinking your operational reach. Now you're not just fighting the enemy, you're fighting your own logistics, your own logistical capability. Now, add on top of all that, you got wounded numbers coming out. The first time we've heard that this weekend, over 300 reported in some cases. Wow. Oh, it was like 20. A lot of those being traumatic brain injuries from blast pressure. And that tells you something very specific. These bases are taking concussive impacts, missiles, drones, indirect fire. That is real contact. Something that hadn't really told us about. Another, right? Keep it quiet. But where things get interesting is that the public narrative has been minimal damage, contained. Everything's under control. We know exactly what we're doing. The operational reality, aircraft destroyed, airfields hit, personnel wounded, infrastructure degraded. That's a gap right there, and it's intentional, because modern war isn't just fought with weapons. It's fought with information management or information control. You don't want, the American people hearing that you're getting your behind whipped. Secondly, you don't want the rest of the world to hear that. America's strength and the value of the dollar comes a lot because of our military strength. You start saying, hey, man, Iran's giving them boys hell over there. That doesn't sound too good, does it? Doesn't sound too good. Now, again, they're stating, guys, that bases are just getting hit right and left. So 17 U.S. sites damaged in war in Iran. Okay. This was from March 11th. But this weekend, they're stating almost every, and this isn't confirmed exactly, but they're saying almost every military base out there or outpost is destroyed, gone. We have none in that region anymore, is what they're saying. So billions upon billions of dollars. They supposedly evacuate everybody. Where are all these people getting injured from as well? What the hell is going on over there? What is going on? I thought we were dominating, winning. Let's talk about what matters the most, though, movement. Because war is defined by movement. And right now, movement says everything. You've got Marine Expeditionary Unit in theater. They just arrived, USS AAA, and the 82nd Airborne preparing for deployment. Apparently, the Special Operations Forces are planning raids. Ground operations are being discussed. This is not stabilization, not de-escalation like we've been, it's going to wrap up. Last week, he was saying it's going to wrap up in a few days. We've got now a phase transition, going from strike phase to ground engagement phase. They're saying now that this 4-day airstrike is turning into 2-month ground troop deployment. Yeah. They're mapping it out. as we speak. Wow. Things are changing, quite honestly. The other thing is that this should alarm you, but apparently Channel 12 reports that if the U.S. launches a ground operation in Iran, Israeli troops will not take part in combat. What? So the IDF will not be involved. Only U.S. souls. You really can't make this up anymore. It's crazy. We know that Lindsey Graham went over there to talk Trump into getting involved with Israel striking Iran. And pretty much not only get involved, but now we are the main ones. They're kind of pulling back, and they were doing peace talks, and then Israel starts hitting major sites, steel factories, and so on. Apparently, universities, and now complete escalation. But they're not going to take part in the ground combat. Yeah. That's about on brand for them. Now, the sad reality, guys, is I want you to take a step back. Take a step back and listen to what I'm about to tell you. You've seen this before. Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan. It always starts the same way. Limited action, no long-term involvement. Guys, just a quick operation. Then more troops, more times, and more objectives. And we heard last week, now the objectives apparently changed. Apparently before it was about, I thought, it's weird because I thought the B-2s took them back out in July. They didn't have nuclear weapons, but apparently they were able to build everything back up and be within 2 weeks again. Since 1990, they've been 2 weeks away from having a nuclear bomb. So apparently that was it. But then it changed to, oh man, we want to free the Iranian people. They're oppressed. They're oppressed. That matters. That matters more than that farmer in Idaho struggling to pay his overhead. That matters. That matters more than those homeless vets or that family struggling to feed their kids here in America, some small town in America. We should really spend billions of dollars to free the Iranians. Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan. We've seen this movie before. More troops, more time, more objectives until you're fully committed. And not because you plan to be. Hell, I don't think they plan to be. I think this is just kind of getting kicked a little harder than you thought. Now you just slid into it. Now, also this weekend, you get this message from a Marine General, Marfor Rez, Marine Forces Reserve. Get your gear ready, leathernecks. Be prepared to deploy, Daredevil dogs. Have your life in order. Let your kids know you may not be coming home. Have your pack sitting by the door. Get your Desert Marpets washed because you're probably not going to be back for Christmas. He's not saying that, the Christmas part. I'm just talking trash. Guys, when you have that is not a motivational speech, okay? That is not a Jocko Willink post. That is a readiness order. That means units are being positioned for potential rapid mobilization in the Marine Forces Reserves. Holy cow. So we're talking not just active duty, the reservists better get ready. So National Guardsmen out there, maybe get your gear together too. Wild. Oh, man. Things are escalating quick. This 4-day war, or I don't know, military airstrikes, is turned into something else. Now, I talked about this last week. You got conflicting statements about the USS Gerald Ford. One side says minor issue, fire in the laundry room. I said this the other day. I said I thought that was a lie because it's out for 2 years. You mean a laundry room fire put this aircraft carrier out of commission for 2 years? Trump said Iran hit that Gerald Ford. He was under threat. Listen to him.
We knew there was a problem when we noticed at 1 o'clock in the morning, every 32 seconds, another airplane, a very fast plane, was coming off the deck of an aircraft carrier. That's actually the biggest aircraft carrier in the world. And every 32 seconds, boom, boom, boom. And it was 1 o'clock in the morning. So we said, okay, I think we're in trouble. But they were ready for us, Johnny. And we were ready. He said we were ready. And then they hit us. And they came from 17 different angles. They were here, they were there. We ran for our lives. It was over.
Wow. The USS Gerald Ford. Carrier strike groups are power projection, man. It matters. If they're taking fire, that changes the entire equation. The other thing is that putting it out of commission for 24 months. Do you really believe the laundry room fire did that? I don't believe that. It's BS. Right? So now you got to ask the question, the real question, is this controlled? Or is it reactions? Because there's a difference. Controlled means you dictate tempo. Reactive means the enemy dictates tempo. And right now, it looks like the tempo is accelerating quite fast. Really. Then we have domestic distractions back home here in the States. You're being fed solutions that aren't really solutions. Guys, E15. E15 gas will fix prices. Trump moves to lower gas prices by filling your tanks with E15. If you don't know what that is, it burns faster. It reduces efficiency. It doesn't solve the supply. It is 15% ethanol. It will F your engine up. But for optics, yeah, we're going to lower gas prices a little bit. It may lower them 25 cents, 30 cents, but it's going to burn twice as fast and mess your vehicle up. That's not strategy. That's just optics. That is another one of these things where I'm saying they are trying to gaslight us. Now, listen to this. Venezuela, they said, oh man, we're going to fix the problem with Venezuela. The oil, fix the problem. They forgot to tell you it's going to take 10 years to do it. And then as they're talking about it, let's see what the most important thing that comes out of Trump's mouth.
Refineries on the Gulf Coast, lowering the price of gas in America. So it's a... Forget that.
And right before that, I actually cut the recording. He says it's going to take 10 years, but...
To American refineries on the Gulf Coast, lowering the price of gas in America. So it's a...
Forget that. When are they going to do the statue?
Build a statue of him down there. That's what he's worried about. Crazy. It's not even time to joke, man. People are pissed off about this gas. And now, again, we've heard the narrative: no boots on the grounds, no war, da 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 da. Let's bring up Charlie Kirk. You know, things really, the world. Maybe I'm just being sentimental. I don't know. I just feel like a lot in America changed after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, taken out. Really, have you noticed that? Is that just me? Tell me in the comments, please. I just feel like was that Charlie that big a gorilla on their back? Maybe he was. Maybe he had that much power. And he was shaping the narrative. He was calling out Lindsey Graham. He was calling out Iran, going to war Iran. And we see where we're at. Now TPUSA is saying that Charlie would have done this. Charlie posted this after the B-2 bombers. Okay. No nukes for Iran, no troops on the ground, no U.S. troops dead, no regime change, no nation building, no war. President Trump with historic masterclass. What? Damn. Compare that to the reality of now. Okay. Troops are going to be on the ground. Troops have already died. They're calling for regime change and obviously war. Damn. Troops are moving. Ground ops plan, assets are hit. Timeline expanding. Troops are dead. So again, what changed? It's weird, right? Look, you don't need to speculate. You don't need a grand conspiracy. All you have to do is watch the pattern. When movement increases, timelines expand, messaging tightens, means one thing. Things are escalating, whether they admit it or not. They're not going to tell us the truth. We're going to hear the cultivated narrative they want you to. So I'll ask you this one question. Do you think this is under control? Or are we watching the early stages of something much bigger and something they maybe didn't plan for? Let me know in the comments. Guys, before I jump off, one of my favorite brands other than Black Scout Survival. This is not normal. You've got Russia openly saying nuclear conflict is inevitable. U.S. Special Operations units quietly moving into position, and the economy already starting to crack under the pressure. While all this is happening, your leaders, man, they're at Disney World. Think about that. While you're struggling to fill up that tank, they're down there hanging out with Mickey Mouse. Now, let's start with what really matters first. Former Russian President Medvedev just came out and said it flat out. A nuclear confrontation between Israel and Iran now appears inevitable. Listen to him. It's words at the bottom, but I'll say it just in case you're like riding your vehicle and not watching the screen.
По моему мнению, после убийства
He says, in my opinion, the following
лидера
assassination of the supreme leader,
нет никаких сомнений, что
there's no doubt that Iran will continue
Иран продолжит ядерные
pursuing nuclear testing
испытания в той
in one form or another.
или иной форме. И стало быть, рано
And they will eventually acquire nuclear weapons.
или поздно получит ядерное оружие. После того, что случилось,
After what has happened, some form of nuclear confrontation
теперь ядерный конфликт
between Israel and Iran is now inevitable.
Израиля и Ирана в каком-то виде неизбежен. Как это не грустно.
And it's sad and unfortunate to acknowledge this. So this man being Russian, former Russian president, is saying this. He, obviously they're allies with Iran, but to even throw them under the bus and say, hey, the Iran's going to get a nuclear weapon and there's going to be a nuclear confrontation. He didn't say not possible, not unlikely, but inevitable. Does that mean that he knows something that the rest of us don't know? Okay. Now, at the same time, we have reports of 50,000 plus U.S. troops in the region. Right? That's not speculation. That's not a theory. Marines from 11th and 31st MUs just got there. USS AAA. Paratroopers from 82nd Airborne. And now, hundreds of Tier 1 assets, SEALs, Rangers, already forward deployed, have been deployed across the Middle East. Things are heating up, huh? Things are heating up, guys. Again, it's not posturing. That's what you call positioning. I saw today some true social posts. Oh, we're so close to getting a deal. We're so close to reaching an agreement with the new leaders. Who are they? We don't really know. These secret ghost phantoms that supposedly that Washington is negotiating with. We have no idea, because everyone else like that's in charge there, that's making media for the country, saying complete opposite. The complete opposite. So I don't really know what the hell's going on. Now, again, this is where it gets real interesting. I talked about this yesterday. Israel is saying yesterday, I discussed it a little bit, but now it's confirmed. If we launch a ground invasion into Iran, U.S. that is, Israel said they're not going. They're not going. So they'll put our sons and daughters in harm's way, but they won't put their own. Airstrikes, intelligence support, yeah, maybe they'll do that. But boots on the ground, that's your sons, your brothers, your guys, not theirs. And to me, I know that Trump has tried to take ownership like, oh, I'm the one who provoked this. I don't believe that at all. This has been Israel's plan for the longest time. They just found someone dumb enough to step into it. When you hear all this war talk, understand who exactly ends up paying for it. Our soldiers, troops, their blood, our economy, the whole nine. Now, Joe Kent, who they've been throwing under the bus as of late, since he's came out against this, we got him saying, call your representative, stop this before it escalates.
This week, President Trump will be under immense pressure to commit ground troops to the war in Iran. This would be a catastrophic escalation that will only result in more bloodshed and further escalate this disastrous war. It is critical that we, the people, have our voices heard. Contact the White House comment line.
And what he's saying is basically, if we put troops on the ground, they're not coming off for a very long time. And fighting a near peer on the battlefield will be much different than what we've seen for a long time.
Contact the congressional switchboard, ask for your representative, ask for your senators. Respectfully tell them that we do not support putting any boots on the ground in Iran. This is how we, the people, can have our voices heard. It's critical that we pray for peace, but it's also critical that we work towards peace. Respectfully contact your elected officials and let them know we, the people, do not support this war. Thank you. God.
I think it's a good spirit. You can try to contact, but most of these folks are bought and paid for by the military industrial complex. I don't see at all them bending. They want to stay in office. I see Miss Lindsay has the lowest rating in the world, but who knows? Probably get reelected, right? But even inside the system, they know this thing is getting out of control. They do. Trump himself is now talking about obliterating infrastructure, oil fields, power grids, strategic targets on Carg Island, even talking about just destroying it. Even making statements, we're just going to go take the oil. We know wars are always about oil. Come on, we know. We're not dumb. Look, and whether you support Trump or not in this, what he's saying is not small talk. It's absolutely escalation language. The other thing is that we talked about for the past few weeks is a lot of things he puts out. Now, some people believe it. I'm hip to it, but he says things to manipulate the market. We saw this pattern where someone invested, made a ton of money in 24 hours, pulled, and all because of the language of the Hormuz Strait. Shouldn't surprise you, but the sad thing is obviously our troops being put in harm's way. But if we bring this back to reality, because war doesn't just happen over there. It doesn't some mysterious, you don't feel effects. It hits you right here too. You're already seeing the headlines, man. They're talking about food rationing, panic buying, grounded planes, economic fallout worse than the COVID. Can you believe that? Worse than the pandemic. And if you look at the charts, guys, prices have went up since the pandemic. Nothing's came down. All those pandemic era prices, and once everything stabilized, you kept paying the higher price. Why would you as a corporation lose out on profits, leave them on the table? You wouldn't. You wouldn't. They know that. And if the government truly cared about us, they would fight to make these corporations dial it back down, but they're not. They're getting paid. They're all in the same club. Left, right, it doesn't matter. They're in the same club. And then right on cue, USPS comes out with an 8% surcharge on packages. They're calling it a fuel cost. They'll call it logistics. You know what it is. It's just like this Teresa Fernandez says. It's a war tax without calling it a war tax. And guess who pays it? Not the politicians, not the elites. You. Just like every time you fill up your gas tank, just like every time you go to the grocery store, everything's getting more expensive. Everything's getting more expensive. Right? And let's talk about something that should piss you off, because while all this is building, the main man who's been behind the scenes pushing this whole endeavor, Miss Lindsay, one of the loudest voices pushing for more conflict, down at Disney World, hanging out, smiling, living it up. TMZ says that he is down there with some lady and a kid. Lindsey Graham doesn't have children. Who is this? Such a creepy dude. He shouldn't even be allowed in Disney World. Creepy dude. We've heard the scuttlebutt. We've heard the talk behind the scenes. We know about this guy. But during the government shutdown, let that sink in. This guy is out here talking about putting American lives in harm's way, and then clocks out, goes to Disney like it's a long weekend. He doesn't have any pressure, man. This is not a guy who's living under pressure. This is a guy not dealing with consequences. He has no skin in the game. He doesn't care, but us, yeah, the troops. This is your leadership class. They will beat the war drums all day long, as long as they're not the ones marching. Now, I gotta make this one post. I gotta make it. This viral post here. A dad proudly posting his son's military meal. Steak, lobster, the whole thing, the whole nine, the spread, we call it. He says, finally, they're taking care of our troops. Look, that meal right there, that is not a reward. That's a signal. Anybody who's been around knows exactly what that means. That is not celebration food. That is not a thank you. That is a get ready meal, is what that is. Get ready. We're going to put you in harm's way, buddy. You might not make it back. It's kind of like the last meal on death row. So I thought that was humorous to see that. Dad says, thank goodness they're taking care of our troops. Yeah. Yeah. Just like that 1776 warrior bonus. That was taxed, by the way. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. I did a video about that. I reposted the other day. People were talking so much shit to me whenever I made that video months ago, right? It was before Venezuela. Like, Venezuela happened the next week. But it gave everybody the 1776 bonus, and I said, oh, get ready. Get ready. And I even talked about the steak and lobster. And people are like, oh, you're full of it. You know, something. Now look at us. Look. So let's just connect the dots. You got nuclear talk on the table, troops already moving, allies stepping back from ground combat. Oh, you guys handle it. You boys can handle it. We got politicians pushing escalation, cost rising at home, and real signals showing this thing is heating up, and it's probably only going to get worse, especially on the home front as far as the economy. And people, this is what people are still acting like this is business as usual. There's still, how many people, just look at the comments I get. I post, I don't know if you're new here or not, but we do something called the pin of shame. I take the most ludicrous comment or somebody talking so much trash about me, and I pin it because I don't care. I don't care. I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to try to tell the truth and get information out. I don't care. I don't care what horrible things people say about me. But people say I don't know what I'm talking about, or that this is 5D chess. Man, you got to trust the plan, dude. You have no hope. Donald Trump was touched by God himself as the new savior. I mean, they say this craziness on Instagram too. There's a bunch of that on Instagram, on my Instagram. And if you're not following me on Instagram, please go do that. But truthfully, it's insane to me. All the signals are here. Like, look at your checking account, your bank account. Look at it. Look at your grocery bill, your gas bill. Look at these things. Now your packages. We're an online business, dude. We ship. We're already taking the hits. We hadn't increased the cost of shipping to you, but it's obviously hurting us. Now, the other companies, the big corporations, well, they'll put it to you. But it's insane that people still defend this. I don't understand. It's like Yuri Besimov says, that you can show them the truth and the facts, and they will still deny it. We are in the destabilization phase. This Project America, I think, is on a time clock. I really do. I don't think it has much longer. People are so tribal, cheering for their saviors, whether it's red or blue, saying the other one's bad, this one's racist, this one's a misogynist. But the thing is that I would like to say this for a moment, is that during the Biden era, and I know people from all walks of life, and during that time, there's some people that just, a lot of people that were voting Democrats just because they have a hatred for Donald Trump because he's a racist or whatever they say. They would not call out, and I know they were opposed to it, things like child mutilation and these sort of things. Maybe they even were into firearms. They wouldn't call out their side because maybe they hated Donald Trump that much. They hated that. That's the problem I have, because me coming from the conservative side, I'll call out my people if I don't agree. I believe in the most basic of things, that one, freedom, liberty, the Constitution, and obviously I have my own religious beliefs as well, being a follower of Christ. However, I'm not the type of guy that calls himself a Christian and tells you how horrible you are as a human because of it, because the truth is we're all horrible. We need Jesus Christ as our Savior. The Bible beaters, I don't really like those type of people. And I just want freedom and liberty and the Constitution for everyone else. I don't want ideologies pushed on me. I'm not going to push my ideologies on you. But I have a problem, though, when people don't call out their own side. Like, look, you can be hardcore right, hardcore left. If you don't call out your side when you don't agree with it, then you have no morality or no strength in that. You don't really have a belief system. You're following blindly like a sheep. And I hate to say it that way. It may sound harsh. It may be blunt, but it's the truth. At some point in time, you have to call out when wrong is wrong, no matter who it is. If it's your mom, it's your daddy, it's your kids, you have to call it out. Think about that. You're raising children, and because you love them, you want to let them keep doing drugs or illegal activities, or maybe not doing well in school. No, you got to call it out. It's called love. That is what love is. So I would encourage you, no matter how you feel about political parties, is that you look inside yourself and be a person of integrity and call out wrong when it's wrong. Period. I get lots of flack from my own side all the time for doing that. But as a man, and the man that I say that I am, I feel I have to be, or else I'd be a liar. And I just can't live like that. In the Bible, it said that that Jesus was persecuted, and we were promised persecution as well. And when we stand up for right, good, the right thing, that you will experience persecution as well. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So I ask you straight, are you paying attention yet? Or are you waiting until it's too late? Because the people making the decisions, they'll be fine. They always are. The question is, will you be? Drop a take in the comments, guys. Do you think this is heading towards something bigger, or you think it's all just noise? Because I've seen people say both. Let me know, guys, in the comments. Remember to stay frosty, stay strapped, stay dangerous. Black Scout Survival, and I'll see you.
So now we've got 2 short videos, 4 or 5 minutes each. I don't remember. One's a little longer than the other, but both of them are really short. it's the same woman, but she's got 2 channels that I got these from. One is AGB Prepping, and the other is Alan's Backyard Garden. I haven't used any of her videos for a while. She told me before, when I had a different channel, before it got taken down, that I could use her videos. And but you can just search for AGB Prepping or Autumn's Backyard Garden. You can search for all of these. I've named them all. Just pause, write them down. If you have to go back, go back. It won't take you that long. But you can search all these. I have so much going on, and I look at everything all the time, constantly. If I can take out anything to save time, I'm going to, because I'm not very, this isn't a production, you know what I mean? I don't have a studio or anything like that. So at any rate, it's pretty jam-packed what she's got in each one of these. The second one, though, there's a lot to that, and I would just check them out, and then I'll be back after those, and go subscribe to her channel. It'd be a good idea. Thank you. I'll be back.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? So, do you understand what just happened in the last 72 hours? Egypt shut down its shops at 9 p.m., mandated work from home on Sundays, and the government internally called it war economy mode. 4 days after the IMF praised them and unlocked $2.3 million, or is that billion dollars? My brain is like scrambled eggs right now. Turkey's central bank burned through 30 billion in March defending the lira. The finance minister, everyone called a genius, is now considering selling the national gold reserves. Pakistan's PM went on national TV on EID and announced government salary cuts and a 50% fuel allocation reduction. They approved $358 million, which is an austerity fund, and nobody asked austerity from what. Russia banned cash exports above $100,000 and gold bars above 100 grams. Putin signed it on March 26 and called it fighting the shadow economy. Iraq banned 22 banks from USD transactions, cashless mandate for all government institutions coming July 2026. South Korea launched a literal wartime economic response body on March 25th. The Prime Minister chairs that. India secretly created a $6.7 billion economic stabilization fund. It wasn't in the news. It was buried in a budget supplement. Lebanon's currency collapsed 98%. The war added $14 billion in damage on top of it. Every single government on this list told their citizens that the economy is doing fine within the last 30 days or so. All of this happened within a single week. And it's only going to get crazier from here. It's like you can't make this stuff up. Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Well, this week has been a most insane week of the Iran war, and I think a lot of people missed it. The U.S. Dropped one of the biggest non-nuclear bombs in its arsenal on Isfahan's nuclear compound. Its secondary explosions lasted for hours. And our president posted the explosion footage on Truth Social himself with no captions. And then IDF hit 170 targets across Iran using 400 munitions, and that happened within 24 hours. And then Iran struck a Kuwaiti oil tanker inside Dubai port, and the fire is still burning. Then IRGC, they launched the 87th wave of retaliatory strikes on U.S. bases in Bahrain, UAE, and Saudi Arabia. Then our president threatened to obliterate Iran's electricity, their oil, and possibly water infrastructure. Then told aides that he'd accept Hormuz staying closed to end the war. Then MSCI Asia wiped out all 2026 gains. Korea crashed at 3.7%. IMF warned of global asymmetric shock. Pakistan, Egypt, Saudi, and Turkey is scrambling for a diplomatic exit that nobody believes in. All of this in 1 week, in a war that's only beyond the halfway point. I only see things getting worse from here. I have no words anymore. And I don't think that I'm the only one who is at a loss for words. And it's getting more and more difficult to keep up with all of this. And it's not the fact checking. It's none of that. It's the constant staying on top of everything. Because when you are literally just nonstop research, and I fact check everything before I talk about anything. It's constant. And it doesn't stop. And you also have to be so very careful of what sources you go through. Because you want to make sure that they are not.
Now we have Full Spectrum Survival. I've watched them for years. I followed them, and I've used some of their videos. Brad is his name. I don't remember his wife's name, but she does. I think she has her own channel, and she used to be on with him every once in a while, but I haven't seen her on with him for quite a while. I think they have another channel together even, but anyway, this is the main channel that he's used. It's all about news, basically. What he's going to tell you, you better listen and get prepared. I mean, if you take pharmaceutical drugs, medicine, whatever you want to call it, I don't take any. Well, I take aspirin and I take a Benadryl type thing, but I watch it because you have to watch aspirin, especially aspirin and Benadryl. If you get them from like a Dollar General, they have aluminum oxide in them. You want to look at the ingredients, and the inert ingredients, or ingredients that don't do anything, except to me, aluminum oxide does, because it damages your body. But they use cornstarch. the ones I got, is cornstarch. Now that's not even the best thing either, but especially because it's all GMO. But it's better than putting aluminum in your body, right? Well, the place that makes these generic drugs got blown to smithereens by the Iranians. Now, that's what he's saying. So you can check it out. It's up to you. But you've been warned anyway already. I know, I've seen it, that pharmaceuticals will probably be really hard to get. And I've seen people that are experiencing pharmaceuticals are being hard to get. They can't even get their medicine. Well, now it's much, much worse. And we're talking cancer medication, medications for, major problems. So I would listen and pay attention, and I won't be back after this one. So, boy, too much going on for my, I never thought I'd be doing this like this. You take care. I'm out.
Headline coming out then. From my family to yours, please stay safe. Apparently, none of the channels out there, including the mainstream media, are willing to warn you about just how our entire world is right now. How fragile the global pharmaceutical industry has become. Iran just attacked the Teva pharmaceutical supply outlet. This was the largest producer of generic medication in the world. Initial reports indicate that there were immediate chemical leaks, immediate secondary explosions, the facility up in flames. This is not just another factory. This is the cornerstone of modern medicine and medicine availability. Teva supplies generic drugs to almost every nation on this planet. These are not small products. These include treatments for cancer, treatments for heart disease, antibiotics, respiratory illnesses, steroids, neurological conditions, and the hospitals around the United States of America rely on these medications. There's no backup. There's nobody coming to the aid. The United States of America is about to begin to suffer. What we've seen happening is the setup for production halts. Supply chain strengthening is unavoidable. We will not see any country able to do anything but stockpile existing medicine. This means that your doctor's office is about to be told to supply less prescriptions. Tighten the reasoning and maybe take grandma off of a heart medication or off of a certain respiratory illness medication. Take a child off of rheumatoid arthritis steroids. Folks, this is about to be bad. In one single night, we see the entire medication industry completely up in flames. Now, the developments in Iran in the past several hours have pointed to a significant escalation in both military posturing and the conflict that is coming. Approximately 50 to 60,000 U.S. troops are now sitting inside of the region. According to major media outlets, they are in noticeable levels that are far above typical wartime levels. President Donald Trump has publicly stated that the priority of the United States of America is to secure Iran's oil. Not just the Strait of Hormuz, but the oil of that entire country. He specifically referenced Karg Island. We talked about this before. That's a critical oil export hub responsible for the vast majority of the oil shipments. There are now reports that are indicating that several hundred elite forces, including U.S. Army Rangers, including Navy SEALs, are deployed possibly already inside of Iran. But there's no clear definition of how they're going to act to take the enriched uranium. Now, Iran has said, bring them on. They'll meet fire. They will meet hellstone. Now, Iran is prepared for a long, drawn-out ground war fight. This is going to be worse than Iraq and Afghanistan because the Iranians have learned exactly how you pin down modern U.S. military forces in a Middle Eastern fight. The one caveat that we have is that we took Iran's cheap one-way attack drone. We started manufacturing it here inside and for the United States of America, and we're going to begin using these to target on-the-ground facilities. These can be launched from all allied countries that are around the nation of Iran. Now, the USS Tripoli, that is an amphibious vehicle carrying 3,500 Marines, arrived at a platform that is typically used for rapid response inside of the area. Iranian officials have said that any U.S. ground invasion will lead to the targeting of Americans and the targeting of American assets all across the world. The International Atomic Energy Agency, and that's kind of the blanket agency that you look to when you're trying to find out whether there's been a radiological leak or a nuke plant was hit. They confirmed that there was complete destruction of Iran's Kondab heavy water reactor. This is a significant development because it housed plutonium. We see oil prices continuing to increase. In fact, from Florida to Alabama, you're looking at $5.50 for diesel. You're looking at $4.45 for the lowest grade of gasoline. We are expected to see another increase this week, and I'm going to remind you that this is manufacturers and retailers inside of the USA completely taking advantage of this situation. The gas that's going into your vehicle right now was purchased cheaper, processed cheaper, and delivered cheaper to the gas stations. So why we don't have the administration putting a lock on them increasing prices just because they want more money before they expect supply chains to tighten up? Well, that I'm not sure of. We do see notable large-scale financial positioning in multiple energy markets and the greater economy. This is prior to recent political statements that are made public now that raise questions about the anticipatory events that are going to happen in the next couple of weeks. The Pentagon evaluated the deployment of an additional 10,000 ground troops. This further signals that military involvement is not just going to be a long-standing position in this war, but it's also going to increase. Now, folks, here in the United States of America, we have a lot going on. I want to get right to it, including some of the posts that we are seeing. This is close-up footage of the hull breach of a Russian gas carrier. Now, while they're telling you to drink out of paper straws and don't drive because your carbon footprint is too large, I'm going to remind you that they're bombing chemical facilities and putting gas into the ocean all across the world under the claim that it's necessary for geopolitical benefit. This is not going to stop. A mysterious surge of fireballs that have been seen across the United States of America recently. Now, here is what I have to tell you. This should be breaking news all across the country because I'm starting to watch open source intelligence operatives that have said there is a non-disclosure agreement or a position that has been put out by the U.S. government, and what is actually happening will blow your mind, but it'll make sense as soon as you hear me say it. The U.S. government, China, and Russia are quite possibly engaged in a shadow satellite fight. You'll remember that we have been years beyond the point that they have said China and Russia have put out suicide satellites all across our orbit, and those satellites are meant to crash into and cause destruction, including lasers that are used and small projectiles used to cause our satellites that are used for military and civilian use to crash and go out of orbit. So what if these fireballs that we are seeing streak all across the American skyline, what if they're actually part of a larger space war that is happening right now? What's the end game? Well, eventually, no more GPS, no space to ground communication. That knocks out military capability. It knocks out civilian usage. They will convert all existing satellites to the U.S. military and the U.S. government use in a certain amount of time. Maybe this is why there was such a push for Elon Musk to put up thousands and thousands of satellites to pretty much blanket the entire world so that the U.S. military could gain some superiority here inside of this. So maybe that is actually what's happening. South Korea has become another country to impose restrictions. They are right now preparing to impose the first public driving restriction that they have in a 35-year period. Now, this nationwide driving restriction would tell people when they can go out of their house, when they can go somewhere, and when they can't. We've already seen Australia make public transport free because they don't want anyone driving their vehicle. They say, you know what, you need to go somewhere. We already have the entire city mapped out. Hop on a bus, get to your location. Imagine for a moment that here in the United States of America, we experience something similar, because I'm going to remind you that here in the USA, what do we have? We have a massive amount of oil, right? No one's worried about oil. We don't have the refining capacity to turn the type of oil that we get out of the ground into the gasoline that you need for your vehicle every day of the week as quickly and as inexpensively as we can get it from across the world. And so we will see an energy crunch here. Increased prices, lower quality, which they've already done. They already took off some EPA restrictions. They're already ready to put worse gas in your vehicle. And let me tell you, the American standard vehicle is not prepared for that. Worse quality, higher prices, lower availability. So imagine for a moment that in the next couple of weeks, you can only get to work by taking a bus. You can only get to the store by taking a bus. You can only evacuate by taking a bus. Where will you go? Will you move now to a bug out location or with friends and family? Or will you wait till the government tells you it's illegal to leave? Folks, you're watching